Okay, so this topic has indeed been beaten into the ground. I definitely know that. We made our video all the way back in 2016, during that very eventful 20-ish minutes on July 29th. When the trade actually happened, we made our video. We made a video talking about Taylor Hall and Adam Larsson. We did all that stuff back in the day. We also made our video talking about the Weber-Subban trade. What was it, 4 years later? We did that last year, something like that. It was a pretty good video. A lot of people really liked that one, but today, I'm making this video because of a very specific Twitter thread that I saw that kind of changed my opinions, of the entire Weber-Subban trade and how everything had gone down since the trade had been made. So, the reason we're doing this is because of JFresh Hockey. JFresh is the analytics guy that has been kind of really popping off on Twitter the past few months, where his player cards and the WAR evaluations, WAR is wins above replacement if you didn't know, they've been really going wild in the hockey community, and everybody's been kind of looking at these and saying, okay, these are some pretty good tools to analyze players in a data perspective. Well, what JFresh has been doing the previous few days has been taking a look at these WAR numbers and the charts and the analytics of players from previous years. So not necessarily guys that are being traded and Nate Schmidt or Jason Robertson signing with the Vancouver Canucks and all that stuff. That didn't actually happen. I'm just kind of filling the blanks in my head here. Not just guys from the last season's worth of play, but players in previous years. And what he's been doing is he's been posting the wins above replacement metrics for a lot of these guys from, let's say, Vincent LeCavalier from X year, or Sidney Crosby from X year in the past, or whatever. Take a look at this tweet. He posted it 14 hours ago at the time of recording this video. It's just a simple little screenshot. And it says that PK Subban back in the 2015-16 season had a 93% wins above replacement metric. You have Shea Weber, on the other hand, who in 2015-16 had a 95 projected wins above replacement metric. Now, it says Montreal for PK Subban, and it says Nashville for Shea Weber, so that does mean that these were taken for the 2015-16 season. And what it means is that, hey, PK Subban, he is 43% better than the average right side defenseman at 26 years old, getting number 1 minutes. Shea Weber is 95% better at age 30, getting number 1 minutes on the Nashville Predators. Now, going to the basic bare-bone numbers back of the 2015-16 season, the last seasons that Subban and Weber had spent with their teams respectively, PK Subban in 2015-16 had 51 points, 6 goals, 45 assists in 68 games played. He was a few years removed from winning the Norris Trophy in the NHL, and he had been given that massively big $9 million AAV contract extension a few years prior. Shea Weber in 2015-16 was a guy who had 45 points in 78 games played, but 15 goals. So PK Subban had better point production, Shea Weber had better goal production, and Shea Weber was on that massive contract that he's technically still on today, $7.8 million a season till 2026. That was signed all the way back in, 2012? Yeah, big contracts right there. But regardless of the status, okay, everybody said that Subban was the better player because he was younger and all this stuff. Everybody in Montreal freaked out about the trade. I remember this very dearly when it happened. We had ourselves the analytics, the advanced analytics, suggesting that Shea Weber at the time was actually a better overall player, with his 95% wins above replacement metric versus PK Subban's 93. Now, WAR, wins above replacement, is pretty much just the encapsulating data point that overall just analyzes whether or not a player is better or not than the other, and it shouldn't be used, in my opinion, as a be-all and end-all tool to define one player absolutely being better than others, because, as the other data points suggest here, from even strength offense to power play situations to penalty kill situations, there are other metrics to take a look at. But the reason I'm making this video here saying that this trade, 5 years later, has been a win-win is because of a little reply here on JFresh's initial tweet. The Predators, hey, they won that trade, Leafs Puck Talk says. They made a cup run, dumped Subban's contract, and they got value for him. Then JFresh himself replied, and he said this: to be fair, the Habs also made a cup run and appeared to have functionally dumped Shea Weber's contract. And I really started to think about it like that after I saw this Twitter thread. You know what makes a trade a winning trade or a losing trade? It's not necessarily if the player in a trade goes out there and scores 100 points, or if a player in a trade wins an Art Ross, or he wins a Hart or whatever. That's not necessarily what makes a trade a winning trade in some situations. You know what makes a trade a winning trade? If the team goes out there and has success. Tampa Bay trading first-round picks for Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman might have been, on paper, losing trades because the value of those assets compared to the value that the Lightning gave up, you could argue, didn't really match. But you know what? Who cares? The Lightning won 2 cups in a row. You think they care about those first-round picks? Who cares? They won those trades, they won the Stanley Cup twice, and those trades were parts of why they won the Stanley Cup. And the same goes for just overall team success in general. And you take a look at what happened with PK Subban when he was traded over to the Nashville Predators for the 2016-17 season. Hey, guess what? He has 40 points in 66 games played. He's part of that stacked decor with Ekholm. He's got Yossi on his side, and you have Ellis over there as well. Guess what? The Preds make the finals. PK Subban has 12 points in 22 games played. He was one of the heads on that 4-headed monster that really allowed Nashville to go out there and play their game, especially from the back end. And then you have Shea Weber, who comes over here to Montreal, and he gets 20 goals in his first gosh darn year. I'd been kind of cheering him on this entire time, just seeing how many goals the guy could go out there and score. And I know, yeah, his scoring touch did dissipate this season, but you have a very good argument to make that says that it's kind of the injuries that we now know of that probably held him back. 5 years, though, removed from the trade, guess what? The Montreal Canadiens, they go to the Stanley Cup Finals. Shea Weber in the playoffs has 6 points in 22 games. Now, sure, it's not the same number that PK Subban had with the Preds when they went to the Cup Final, but Shea Weber being a part of this team, going out there playing, 25 minutes a night, being an absolute rock on the defensive side of things, despite the fact that he was hurt all over, yeah, that's a big deal. And the value that the Canadiens got out of Weber in this playoff run was unmatched. Well, I mean, I guess it was kind of matched because Ben Sherratt was out there playing more than Weber, but still, the point remains, Weber was extremely important. And now you take a look at the situation of the contract. Okay, well, Weber might not play again. That contract is going to be LTIR'd until whenever he comes back, or worst case scenario, it's LTIR'd until 2026, and the Canadiens are going to have an extra $7.8 million to spend over the cap should they actually find themselves at the cap ceiling. So, okay, that contract is essentially not there. For PK Subban, guess what? The Preds traded away PK Subban and the full value of his contract to the New Jersey Devils back in 2019, and now you take a look at where the Devils are. They still have this guy. He's still going out there. He's still playing. He had 19 points in 44 games this most recent season, so definitely like a step down, but you know what? It's still pretty okay, especially for a Devils team that has been improving with Dougie Hamilton, with Thomas Tatar, with Luke Hughes, all these other guys, of course. And PK Subban certainly was a valuable piece of the Predators when he was there. The Preds just kind of jumped ship early on before he eventually declined, which was a really smart move now that I think about it. Good on you, Nashville, for doing that. But it could not be said that Subban did not provide significant value to the Predators when he was on that squad. I'm not talking about Steven Santini and Jeremy Davies and all that stuff, the things that the Predators received in the Subban trade to New Jersey, but I'm talking about just the way Subban played when he was great. He was good enough to the point that he helped this team make the finals. And for Shea Weber, he had been a rock on the Canadiens' blue line for so long that he helped them make the finals too. And guess what? Both contracts no longer parts of these organizations, pretty much. And guess what? They have cup runs to show for it. And so, a few years later, Subban for Weber, man, it was kind of a win-win trade. Both teams got tremendous value out of these guys when they were here. And now, hey, they're not paying out the full value of those contracts, most likely, and they've effectively gotten rid of them. So, talk to me in the comments what you think. Has this changed your perspective on the Weber for Subban trade? Because honestly, for me, I think it kind of has. It's kind of why I'm making this video, if you hadn't filled in the blanks in your head already. But talk to me in the comments. Either way, what you think of you enjoyed this episode of Trolls 99. And bye.